Hello there, thanks a lot for coming by PosterCentral.com's video blog today. I'm Pete Howard, and boy, look at this 1958 James Brown 14 by 22 inch window card. Oh my goodness, just a great early R&B concert poster for a number of reasons. I mean, just think about it with James. First of all, it's from the 1950s, right? That's killer right there. It's got, you know, his two big 1950s hits on the poster listed on there. That's great. The Flames weren't quite famous yet. Well, wink wink, okay, but they're abbreviated to the Flames on this poster. It's just, it's got this extremely early, innocent, I guess you could say, crazy young photo of James. And it's got Larry Williams on there. And boy, you know, all he did was hold, you know, he holds the record for most songs recorded by the Beatles from an outside songwriter. So I'll get to more on that in a minute. But boy, I'll tell you, this is just a beauty. First of all, let's take a look at the headliner, Mr. Brown, Mr. Dynamite and all those things. Boy, take a look at that. You know, the legendary boxing-style concert collector and friend to all, Hank Thompson, who's no longer with us, once cracked me up and he called that the Rodney Allen Rippey photo of James Brown. And for those of you who weren't around then, and us pop culture people know that Mr. Rippey was the subject of Jack in the Box TV commercials, and his tagline was "Too big to eat," stuff like that. Anyway, he was just sort of a character. So, but look at that photo of James. Look how young he is. He's extending his right foot and his right hand, and just looking so, you know, unlike he did in the '60s and onwards. Just a great photo of James. And then you've got abbreviations, you know, sort of abounding. Tillman liked to keep it short, sweet, and simple, so they often used abbreviations. And, you know, with the Flames, you know, the word famous was added around 1955, so they just, you know, whittled it down for the sake of the poster perhaps, or perhaps some booking agent wanted them known just as the Flames. And then, always a favorite part of a concert poster for me are those three song titles on there. And again, as I said, abbreviations abound. You've got Please, 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 shortened down to just two of the pleases, and you've got Begging, Begging, shortened down to just one of the begging. But, you know, the main thing is that the song Please, Please, Please is on here, because that was his first hit, a top 5 R&B classic in 1956. And then getting Try Me on here is really important too. That's awesome. Just as a aside, that's my favorite male R&B vocal performance ever. More favorite than anything that ever appeared on Motown. Try Me is just dynamite. And it's so nice that it happened to be his current hit here in December of 1958. Try Me, his current hit. His first #1 record on the R&B charts, and the first, he was inching its way onto the pop charts as well, like at number 48. And then you've got the third song, again, just listed as Begging, even though it was a double word title, and that was his previous 45 but did not chart. But interestingly, I thought I'd show you a little graphic to support Begging, Begging, and that would be his 1959 album called Please, 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 and as you can see, I sort of circled Begging, Begging there as being listed. Pretty interesting, interesting cover there for James, I would certainly say. No comment on that any further. So then you got, fingers over the artist, Pete, J.C. Davis and band. And, you know, that's not just a throwaway by any means, even though it's only one line in the middle of the poster. He was tenor saxophonist and shortly became a very key part in James' new permanent road band, in fact, in 1959. And then Mr. W, that's right, Larry Williams down there, the bottom half of the poster, look at him. Rock and roll and rhythm and blues star, but unfortunately only really shined brightly for about a year in 1957. But it was certainly enough to capture the attention of a skiffle group and so forth in Liverpool, England, named the Beatles in 1957 and 58. And while Paul McCartney was singing all the high parts, or all the high vocals of Little Richard, which Lennon couldn't reach, when the Beatles heard Larry Williams' records and loved them, Lennon said, "I'll take those, thank you very much." And eventually the Beatles recorded 3 of Larry Williams' songs for their official EMI Records releases, John singing them all, of course, and that would be Dizzy Miss Lizzy, Slow Down, and Bad Boy. And as a musical trivia note, just in case you're curious, Williams is tied for that honor with Carl Perkins, Rockabilly King, because the Beatles, of course, recorded Perkins' Matchbox, Honey Don't, and Everybody's Trying to Be My Baby. But Larry Williams, as a performer and writer, you can see there's 3 song titles on there for him, and Short Fat Fanny's right on there. That's just great. That was a top 5 pop hit and a #1 rhythm and blues record, Short Fat Fanny, and it was so fun, just almost novelty, but not quite, comprised of lyrics and song titles of rock and roll hits from people like Elvis and Little Richard and stuff, and Lennon just loved Short Fat Fanny, just really loved it reportingly. Then you've got Bodie Maroney on there, and that was his other big, hit as a performer for Larry Williams, and certainly you know that. It's a classic radio staple. I've got a girl named Bodie Maroney, and she's as skinny as a stick of macaroni. Went top 5 R&B and top 15 pop hit. And then the last song title for Larry Williams is I Was a Fool. That was a Specialty Records 45 that did not chart. So that's the permanent part, and then up here on top, as Tillman so often did, there's the red print for, as you can see, the Memorial Auditorium in Sacramento, California, and state capital, of course. And you've got Saturday, December 27, with dancing from 9 to 1. Now, of course, this was a tour blank, as I often cover with my blog, but rather than have this exact poster with just different information up here, I can take a little twist here and show you a photograph of how this tour blank changed a little bit just 8 months later. Check this out. Gone is Larry Williams. See that? It's largely the same, not entirely, but here you've got it from the next year, 59, and Larry Williams is gone, interestingly enough, but look how much love J.C. Davis gets. As I told you, he was an important part of James' band, and they really gave him his own picture and everything, but meanwhile, James' cool little picture remains, and, it's interesting how they just, Larry Williams is off there, and J.C. Davis gets the love, and as I said, would be a very important part of James' performing band going forward. So a Tillman, made in Oakland, tour blank, for a few months after, instead of a few days after, which I often do, just to show you how artists can come and go on these tour blanks. So, boy, real nice Tillman from 1958 for a super-duper legend, one of the most important figures in the history of pop music, and maybe the most important figure in the history of R&B. So, happy to show it to you today. Thanks a lot for stopping by, and I'll be back soon with something else fun to show you. So, have a good day, and catch you on the flip-flop. Bye-bye.